here we go with another episode of the Sloth Doctors. I am Dr. Chip.
I'm Dr. Bob.
And our guest today, our first international guest from across the pond of England, is Dave Conley, a well-known South Florida musician. How's it going, Dave?
I'm doing well. Thank you, gentlemen.
Welcome to the show.
So we were starting to allude to it before we started the cameras rolling. What is the temperature over there right now?
So let's see.
In Fahrenheit, if you please.
I'm going to guess it's about 76.
Oh, that's so delightful. Good Lord.
Yeah.
You literally, even after it rains here, it's like you go outside and it's like, Jesus Christ. It's just like a freaking swamp. As you know. Where are you originally from, Dave? You're not from England, are you?
No, I'm not. I was born in Ohio, but raised mostly in South Florida. So I am a Floridian by I guess by being raised.
It's the wife that has the English connection, right?
So yeah, I married a Brit, an English woman, and we lived in Florida for roughly about 15 years. And she decided that she missed the rain, traffic, taxes, and wanted to come home. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm a musician. Traveling is in our nature. So I said I'd give it a try.
Having visited and seen Ohio, I can understand the desire to get, as far away as earthly possible, if not actually leaving the planet. I mean, there is a reason I feel that there's been so many astronauts that have come out of the state of Ohio. I feel the urge to get away is enough to risk death and even massive G-forces just to try.
What's so bad about Ohio?
I'm just joking. I'm joking, guys.
Like my dad, we lived in Cleveland, so we lived on east side, and I guess the wind blows off the lake and it's freezing. I think he was literally shoveling snow. He said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Florida." Didn't have a job, didn't have anything, but he's like, "I got to get out of Cleveland." And I was probably like 6 years old then, and he never left. Florida was home.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick up subscribers in Michigan. Whatever it takes.
So what's going on in jolly old England over there? I hear that there's a lot of brown people over there now.
Now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a now situation. I think it's always been since, I think they inhabited India.
But aren't they in there like some
years? And then when they left India, the Indians said, "Wait a minute, we're coming back with you."
Yeah, I mean,
look for you.
There's a reason one of the most popular dishes is tikka masala. I mean.
And so Indian food is their version. Indian food is to Brits what barbecue is to Texans. I mean, that is their go-to takeaway. Yeah. Everybody thinks it's fish and chips. It's not. Fish and chips is sort of like a Friday thing, or
Right.
Sunday thing. But Indian food is like Indian and Chinese are the standard go-to for takeaways for the Brits.
I gotta say, the weirdest thing I noticed the time I was in England is the fact that they have all the Burger Kings, McDonald's, KFC, Taco Bell, all that stuff over there, but none of them have a drive-through. They're all places you got to go in there, order it, and sit down and eat it. To which I would say,
Yeah.
Why the hell would you go to any of those places if not for the convenience of I don't have to get out of my car? I don't get it.
It's a European thing. So it's basically space. All of these villages and cities and towns were built, like you take the oldest, you're from Boston, Chip, so you take the oldest town and it's built like 1700s, and it's small, and the streets are small. And
they're old cow paths. Exactly.
And this goes for most of Europe. So, but there are some, you just got to know where they are. So when there is one, like the concept of drive-through banking, to ask the Brit about, we have drive-through banking, they can't get their head around that. They're like, come again? What, how do you do that? We're like vacuum tubes. And they have to sit and really ponder that because they have to go into their branch.
Well, that's interesting since that's one of the very few things that reverse osmosis, because most things here originate in England. And it's like it ends up like perfect example. When I was in England, there was this unknown. I was watching this wild TV show they had on England that we didn't have in America yet called The Voice, and it was like, check this show out. And then, sure enough, I go back home, and a couple of years later, it's like, now we got The Voice. But that's the drive-through banking is the opposite osmosis, huh? They have no idea. Huh?
There are shows like that. We had a show 90s called Men Behaving Badly or something.
Right, right.
But we named it differently. The Office obviously came from the UK.
Oh, yeah, dude.
They try to copy our shows from time to time, and most of the time it doesn't work. It gets lost in translation. So,
well, I would say that about The Office because, I mean, as funny as the American Office is, and it's kind of funny, the English Office is so much better. Rick Gervais is just like, yeah, that's gold. I mean, especially, you remember the scene where he's with David Bowie? And David Bowie writes the song about him, Little Fat Man.
Yeah, he's like,
so freaking hilarious.
Oh, and the dance, Ricky Gervais said it. But it's funny, if you ask the Brits, they prefer the American version of The Office.
See, that's just
I know, I can't remember the name of it, but I know there was a failed attempt to make a British version of Married with Children. And I can't remember what the name of the show was, but it didn't work. And I think it was maybe only a pilot or maybe one series.
Like back in the days of Married with Children?
Not back in the days, but like shortly thereafter. Okay. Yeah, certainly a long time ago by today's standards. But so speaking of not having the drive-thrus there, or only being able to find certain ones, that must be especially painful for you coming from Ohio, because that's the only place where I've seen a real drive-thru. And I mean a building where you drive your whole car into it like a parking garage, but it's like a small building and there's shelves all around, and you can, in your car, you look around and see what you want. Someone runs out to you and asks you, they go collect it, bring it to you and take your money. I don't know how these chicks that work in there. Yeah. It's like a car wash, but with shelves in it and refrigeration, and everybody that works in there is sucking exhaust fumes the whole time. And in the winter, it's cold.
I was going to say, they have to do it.
I want that.
Yeah, they have to do it because of the winter, so you don't have to get it, right?
People don't get out of it, but it's open year round. But I've never seen one. The first time I was taken to one, I thought she was driving into the building. I'm like, whoa! I'm like, you're not allowed to drive. You're going to kill us all.
That's a brilliant thing to do down here.
A genuine drive-through.
Wow, they should be doing that down here.
But then again, I left in 1972. But that would blow me away, and that even coming from
my sister once visited Wyoming, and this was in the 90s, and she said she went to a liquor store, or like bar/liquor store, that had a drive-through portion, and they handed her in the driver's seat a cocktail with a lid and a straw. Here's your drink, and you just drive away with the drink.
God bless Wyoming.
Yeah, that's
land of the free.
That's Wild West, apparently.
Home
still
of the drunk.
Yeah. Wild West, yeah, kind of like it.
Well, it's kind of like Australia. There's more sheep than people in Wyoming. There's more cattle. Like it's the sparse for per square mile. I think it's one of the most sparsely populated states in the United States. Maybe Alaska wins, but a lot of Alaska is uninhabitable.
It's the same, but.
Yeah, and that's the argument some people are making. Like, they get the same amount of representatives as like California or something, right? In the House of Representatives, it's two, no matter how many people you have.
Right.
Yeah,
well, senators. Yeah, everybody gets the same amount of senators. If you look at a map of Canada, I mean, 80 to 90% of Canadians live right along the strip, right down by the border with the United States, because it's too brutally cold up there. I mean, it's a huge country, but the only people that live up at the top are indigenous, or Russians that are just creeping
Australia.
over.
If you look at Australia, they all live around the coast of the edge line, and everything in the center is just desert.
There's nothing in the middle of. Apparently, there's you can apparently get a train from like the east side of Australia and all the way to the west side and ride this train. It takes like a week or two or something like that. And there's one stop in like the very middle. There's this one little like podunk little teeny town that literally exists only for that train to come through and stop and do whatever they do there. It's so weird.
There's one
Wagamama like in the middle of town.
Yeah, dude, Australia is so weird.
There's a weird little town in the middle there somewhere. I think it's called Coober Pedy or something like that, and it's where they find a lot of opals. And almost everybody there lives underground. Like they just hollow out caves and live underground because
it get too hot.
It's impossible to live on the surface. You'll die if you live on the surface. And I saw a video or a documentary about it. One guy, so like when they want to make a home improvement or whatever, they literally chisel out a new room. And so he was his wife had harassed him into making a room for her mother. So he's making a mother-in-law apartment in a cave in the middle of the outback. And as he was chipping out the stairs to get into her room, he found a gigantic opal that was worth some shit ton of money. So it was like, moral of the story is, make the wife happy, stop for the mother-in-law, but it paid off in the end.
There you go. You know,
Definitely.
the thing that made it a no-go for me in Australia is once I saw some footage of them, and there were some people, they were out at night, and the bugs were so bad, they literally had to wear these look like beekeeper hats on, just because otherwise the bugs would just be all over their face. It was just like, yeah, that's a no. That's a no for me. That's just too many bugs.
Well, you do live in Florida, though, which is the Australia of the United States. So
yeah, I mean, I imagine that would happen to you if you get out of town far enough at the right time of year. I mean, I've certainly been swarmed by mosquitoes down here a couple of times. Do they even have bugs in England?
Yeah, we like our mosquitoes are just like they're lethargic. They're like, later, kid. They don't have to, like in Florida. They're like ninja assassins. They can move in, swoop in, take a pint of blood, get out in 3 seconds. Here, they just kind of like mosey about. They're like, oh, are you going to kill me now?
Yeah, well, here over there, they probably have manners. I mean, they're British. They have manners. They probably ask permission. Canadian mosquitoes apologize.
But in the woods, if you're out in the woods, it can be just like Florida. But it seems here, the domestic ones are just too civilized.
I mean, England has been civilized for so long that like most of the horrid, nasty creatures have been hunted and driven out. You don't have wolves anymore. I mean, even though lions are on all the royal crest, it's not like there's been lions in England in God knows how long.
Kings many centuries ago said, no, too much competition hunting, and we don't like to be attacked, so kill everything.
Fair enough.
There are no predators. I mean, unless even birds, the birds would be the common predators. Seagulls here. Seagulls are not like the seagulls back home in Florida. These guys have like prison records, tattoos. These seagulls will mug you
armed and dangerous.
French fry or what they call a chip. They are just massive. I've never seen a seagull.
No kidding.
People are like, these seagulls are gigantic. They're huge, and they're just nasty, vile creatures. But no predators. Badgers is the only thing you worry about. Foxes, and you're not scared of a fox. Badger, you just stay out of his way, most of the time. But you can go sleep out in the woods and worry about nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. So by the same chain of reasoning and logic, if lions are on the crest and they were hunted into extinction to make it safe for the nobility, does that mean that dragons and unicorns are in fact real and were hunted to death in Wales and Scotland because that's their national animals?
And the kraken is the kraken real?
The Welsh dragon is like the national crest, and there are apparently wolves in Scotland still,
right?
And they almost brought them back into the
They're reintroducing
what do you call it,
the ecosystem,
just to balance things out a bit, because we have deer, like we have deer everywhere, and I find it a funny argument because I got family in West Virginia, like, well, if you don't hunt the deer, they'll just overpopulate. They'll eat each other. It'll be mass chaos. I'm like, but
you just channeled Alex Jones. That was great.
Say that too. You got Alex Jones get down.
That was perfect.
Yeah, they gotta get them deers. The deers are turning the deers gay.
Yeah, that was
speaking
really
of which,
good.
You still sound American. Is that is that how you speak to the English, or do you put on a little?
Pretty much. I mean, it's basically if I try to copy them, it just doesn't feel natural to me, and I am who I am.
And they probably don't respect it anyway. They're probably like, look at this Yank trying to sound English or something, right?
Yeah. But listen, my oldest daughter came here as a 12-year-old, and she still speaks the way she is. I mean,
really,
we'll change words and phrases just out of convenience. I'll say, put it in the bin. When I know, like, I won't say rubbish or the trash. They say bin.
Right.
The bin.
You got to pick up the vernacular.
Just to avoid the confrontation, I'll say tomatoes, because the tomato is the word they don't say.
Now,
certainly the vocabulary you have to use.
Honestly, fellas, you can drive 15 minutes and the dialect changes because they have 10. Remember, England's the size of Wyoming,
right?
But you have 10 recognizable dialects within that. And I mean strong, from a Scouser, which is like the Beatles, to the Queen's English, to the Cockney, the Dick Van Dyke's poor rendition of a British accent. You have all these dialects, so it would be foolish for me to try to emulate either one.
Yeah,
but
it'd be impossible to maintain that one dialect.
I had to learn a new language. I had to learn phrases. I had to learn what chock-a-block means, and which means traffic backup. It's just a backup. There's a whole road to chock-a-block. I'm like, what? And they're like, just backed up. The traffic's backed up. So it's the lost in translation. It is a different language, but
Well,
you
I
get
mean,
accustomed to it after a few years.
other than the words, though, like when I went to Ireland, it seemed like they were speaking a different language. I mean, literally, you would be like, "What the hell did they just say?" Now, does that happen to you at all over there in England?
So Northern Ireland is brutal, like the Belfast.
Yeah, those guys. It's like, are they
Glasgow.
speaking English?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Scotland. Northern Ireland, if they speak fast, and they have words that the English just like they don't understand each other.
Yeah.
Southern Ireland, if you're in Dublin, it's a little more laid back. Same with Scotland. You go to Edinburgh, you can understand the people. If you go to Glasgow, Glaswegian to Glasgow, they are rough. And
Right.
if you get a more street oriented person, you're just going to struggle. You'll have to say slow down. and again, but the words are the same. It won't. So whether you're Welsh, and Welsh speak a completely different language.
Yep.
So they speak English as well. So they're one of those multilingual countries. So all the signs are in. However, but they all the words will correlate. Like I said, they all will say pint, and they always say bin. They'll say rubbish. The junkyard is the tip. There's so all the words, no matter what part of the United Kingdom you are, will correlate. And they understand each other. It's just you have to understand their accent.
Oh, absolutely.
At least if everybody
from Liverpool and been like, what?
At least you can always write it down and read it. Even if you can't get the dialect, you should be able to write it down and read it.
Yeah. Translate this. Have your Google headphones on? Can you say that again? Translate that.
So, Dave, where are you playing nowadays? Are you still on the cruise ships? Are you playing on dry land, or where are you gigging at?
I am completely dry land based. I had to. So I came over here for 3 years and tried to implement. I was a pretty good booker in South Florida. I knew how to book gigs. I knew how to get gigs. I knew how to find gigs. That was a specialty of mine. But I came over here with a little bit high on my horse, so to speak, and thought, well, I'm just going to implement my strategies over here. As what they would say, died on my ass. It's the British saying. I failed miserably. And I came back. I don't know if you might remember, Chip. I did 3 years.
Right.
And I said, this is hard. I can't make any money. And I came back to Florida for 3 years, and I realized that I had to go back. So I went back with a different strategy. And the whole gig system is completely different.
Well, here's the thing, dude. You've always got something to fall back on. Your fucking voice that's like butter. It's golden. I mean, that's your strength. Forget the booking stuff.
Here's the downside of that. Singers. So if you work in South Florida, you want to play in a restaurant, you better play an instrument. In England, they're allowed to walk in with their laptop and sing a song and do a set. They do not have to be musicians.
Well, they're doing that now here too. Don't worry.
Great singer. Now you're fighting amazing singers for gigs.
But dude, you're an amazing singer.
Gives you no extra advantage.
I would say there's 2 or 3 guys that even can compete with you that I've heard singing. I'll never forget the time. Remember that time I ran sound for you over in Palm Beach, and you were doing like Unchained Melody, and I got the chills. I got the hairs, and I was like, holy, but Jesus! When you hit that high note, I was like, my God!
I still sing high, but it's. Listen, they're
well, you're doing like a country thing
like
now, right?
Else. You're going to be better than a lot of guys, and there's still going to be guys better than you. And I've got young 25-year-olds who just have the new style of singing, and that's okay. But I found my niche, and my niche is I'm sort of the rocker cowboy.
I was going to say, because that doesn't require all that much.
Cowboy hat. You see my photo. Cowboy hat, biker kind of jacket, and they love it. They buy my persona, and they want to know about me, and because I'm different.
Right.
And I sort of found a way to use that as a sales tool.
And you're from here, so it's quasi-authentic. You're like, yeah, this guy's really a cowboy, or
I might put on a little more of a southern drawl when I'm up on stage for them. It's just I give them what they want. But
could you imagine a guy from England trying to do that though?
Suits me as well. But it's in Florida, as you guys know, as being Floridians, you can go to any restaurant. Waterside restaurant, and there's going to be a band, there's going to be a duo, there's going to be a musician. They don't have that here, and what they have is holiday parks. So you've seen Dirty Dancing, right?
Okay.
And that whole thing with the Catskills, and you got whatever class at 5, which is like a cruise ship on land. Well, holiday parks are nothing but trailers set up in succession, and they have
caravans,
one
as they
main
call them, right?
clubhouse, and and that clubhouse will have a massive stage with the lighting, soundboards, and everything, and they'll do, they'll have a host team, and they'll do stuff for the kids and costumes, and it's that is the big industry here for local travel. So the Brits that don't leave the United Kingdom, which because they've got a prison record or they can't leave the country for whatever, they just go to a local holiday park. A lot of them are seaside, so I have a contract with those companies, and I'll go Monday through Thursday, and I'll go to all these different parks around the country, which is a great way for me to see the United Kingdom and experience it. And I'll do a 1 hour set. Right. And I get back in my car, which is also different.
But you also get to play outside the UK, right? Like, do you ever get to go across the channel, or at least you get to go to like Scotland and Ireland and stuff like that, right?
I also am involved in a theater tour called Country Roads UK, Country Road Show UK. If you Facebook it, it's there. And we only play theater. So that's the other thing about England. It's a heavy theater culture.
Right.
Every village, every town, every city has a theater. If it's a city, it might have multiple theaters. And that is just something that's bred into their culture. So tribute bands do amazing in the United Kingdom. We're sort of a tribute show. We have a Kenny Rogers, we have a Dolly Parton, we have a Johnny Cash.
Right.
I just do blanket country. I sing 3 songs in a show, play acoustic guitar for 2 sets, 1 intermission, and I'm out the door. And I do probably about 60 dates with that show. Currently, we're not back till next month because we always have August off,
right,
and December. So between that, but I miss playing. At least that's a live band, but I do still miss the South Florida scene, the South Florida music. I went to play a gig, and I realized I've forgotten all of these songs that I used to know.
Right.
They're so American, and they love American music. I really haven't had to change my song list all that much. And if you guys ever heard a band called Status Quo?
No.
Probably
Sounds
not.
vaguely familiar.
They're huge. There are certain bands, obviously Oasis is Oasis, but there's certain bands that are iconic to them. I could count them on my hand. Status Quo was one of them. But the rest of music.
What's Status Quo's like genre? What kind of music do they do?
What's that?
Status Quo are like pop or country, or what are they exactly?
So the Brits are all over the place. It's kind of like the Americans. They are so it's so the same.
No, I mean aren't you
like
talking about
music, they like reggae music, they like all of it.
Right. But aren't you talking about a band called Status Quo, or are you just talking about the Status Quo?
Oh, there's a band called Status Quo.
Right. But what do they play?
Massive in the 70s. A huge amount of hits. When I got here, I'm like, who? They're like, you don't know Status Quo? And I'm like, no. Found out they never made it to the States.
If you had to pick an American band that you would say kind of sounds like them.
There's some pop bands, boy bands. There's, like I said, I can count them on my hand, but they, obviously we shared a passion, the Brits and the Americans in the 70s, rock bands from, we had Aerosmith, they had Queen, we had, they had Zeppelin, we had something else. It was a nice, we respected each other, and our music was very similar. And to this day, I think it's kind of the same outside of the intense pop world, which sometimes it won't cross over. But for the most part, rock music is it's international. It's across the board. And same with country.
So let me ask you this. Now, like over here, from what we see, like the headlines are England's in chaos. But basically what we see is stuff from the city, right? So when you're traveling around in like the suburbs and the countryside and stuff, you don't see any of that stuff. It's kind of like here. Like here, if you go to like Chicago or New York or LA, it's going to look really kind of dystopian. But once you get away from there, it looks totally fine. Is that about the same in England?
I would say yes. I mean, you got to look at the way we're populated. We're populated into pockets. So we have so much countryside for an island that's the size of Wyoming. Again, we have so much empty space and countryside. But that's because they just cram us into like little villages and things. But I would say, yeah, if you're going into London, you're always going to find that part. There's some rough towns up north, outside of Manchester and Liverpool and stuff. And there are some. There's some squabbles because you do have some ethnic issues where certain cultures have moved into a city and basically taken it over,
Right.
and that's caused a lot of friction. But for the most
Now,
part, suburbia is suburbia.
do you think that's the basis of what's going on with, like, now? Isn't it illegal to fly your own flag over there or something now?
It's no, it's not illegal to fly your own flag. It's discouraged. So England has its own flag, which is it's the white flag with the red. It's called the St. George
the Union
flag.
Jack, right?
But
No, I think
yeah,
it's different
but
than you.
yeah, it's so if you get people from of ethnic background, Pakistani stuff, well, they think, well, that was an oppressive regime, and we don't want that. Kind of like the rebel flag.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
I get it.
okay.
I
It's
see
the
what's
same
going
thing.
on. I see what's going
Union
on.
Jack. So like, and I know a lot of Scots, and you can show them the Union Jack. Like, what's that shite? And
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
no, the
Okay,
Scottish
that's a
flag.
really
They're
good
like,
point.
oh, that's shite. It's not a Scottish flag. They get really. They're still anti. There's always that bit of anti-British in the Irish and the Scots and the Welsh.
But I mean, there is a lot more censorship over there. Like, he was like talking to, like, hey, we're going to get that guy arrested about some of the stuff we talk about. Like, so in there a lot more like censorship over there? Like, aren't people getting thrown in jail for tweets and stuff?
I was surprised by that article that you shared with me, because I didn't hear about it, but that doesn't surprise me. I have found no different censorship. I think it's more of a generation issue. Everybody's so offended now. They're offended that you're not offended, and it's that. I think that is a bigger issue. Then they might have been starting to clamp down on, here with the Facebook and the propaganda, because it's you have an entire city that might be Palestinian. You do not want to rile them up and have them burning London down. So it depends. I did read a bit of that, and I think the guy had been warned so many times. It wasn't a matter of freedom of speech. I think he was abusively trying to incite a riot. So
Well, he's probably like us. Like,
jail, probably not. We are the least incarcerated. There's people that should be in jail
Right.
that they won't go in jail. You're like, why is he in jail? And they're like, because we don't have enough jails.
Well, the perfect example is, I don't know if you noticed, but Trump just made it illegal to burn the American flag. So what did American Marine vet do immediately but to burn an American flag? Like, all right, arrest me, because this is against the Constitution. So, the guy that you could have warned us, him or us, or 1,000 times, don't burn the flag. We're still going to burn the flag. Sorry, I don't care who pisses off, but yeah.
That's what I love about America. You tell us we can't do something, we're going to do it. Don't tell us we can't do something.
Driven by a need to instigate and rebel.
You can burn a Union Jack flag here. No, you're not going to go to jail.
But you just can't say something on Facebook repeatedly, I guess.
Never experienced it. In fact, I think the police and everything is too lenient. I mean, they still don't have any firearms, and we have divisions that have firearms. They don't patrol the streets.
Does England have a constitution? Or what do they? How do they determine?
Magna Carta.
Is that what it is? It's a Magna Carta. Is that what it is over there? Is that what lays out how they govern?
We don't have a constitution. We just have laws that govern the land. It's not because we never had to declare independence from Britain.
But I mean, there's got to be somewhere.
So we don't really have those. But many of the laws are quite similar. I'm not an expert on the laws. I just know I find that England is the most penalized. I get yelled at by my wife because I'm like, another penalty, another fine, another parking this, another, like they will get you left and right on penalties and fines and the whole television tax. I never paid my television tax for 6 years because as an American, I thought that's ridiculous. I am not paying a television tax. And so eventually I broke down. It's like,
did you have to pay the back taxes on television tax?
You got to pay. So if you have a television, here's the trick though. If you watch BBC, then you have to pay the tax. But if you put a television up, right, and you just watch streaming, and you watch whatever you get, illegally or legally, they can't charge you the tax. But they know if you've been on BBC One or and unfortunately, my wife would turn that on in the morning. Every morning she's getting ready for it. She watched BBC. She particularly liked that news program. But that's your only way out of it, paying the £70 tax. And
That's
it's
so wild.
like if you got 5-6 TVs up, it can go up to £100 for the year. But
It's
that's for the
based.
year.
So it's not
That was
per household; it's per television.
And get this, that was supposed to save us from all the advertisement. So you know how we always complain, oh, another commercial. They call it an advert here, but
Right. So they
now
did that to
England
cut
is
down on the
becoming a lot more like
commercials.
America. 10 years ago when I moved here, I was like, wow, already it's back on it show's back on. I didn't have time to get my drink, and now it's like, oh, now they're slipping in a few more,
Oh God.
So your wife, I'm guessing, is British.
Yes.
And now that you're married, how does that work there versus here? Are you now a citizen of the UK?
Yes, so I have 2 passports and 2 citizenships, and my children also are American and British citizens, as is my wife. So while she lived in America, she applied for citizenship, not just the green card.
Right.
You don't have to become a citizen to live in America. You just have to pay your taxes and do the paperwork. But she did the citizenship. So we all, as a family, there's 8 passports in my house at all times. So I haven't seen an advantage of it. I really want the Irish passport because that to me would be the trifecta, because then I'd be part of Europe, because England's no longer part of the European Union.
Right.
And Ireland still is? Ireland's still in the EU?
So Ireland's divided into 2. So England basically conquered, they can call it whatever they want, but they took over Northern Ireland, which is the tip of Ireland. So that is actually part of the United Kingdom. So if I want to go live in Ireland, legally, I can move to Northern Ireland, but I can't live in Southern Ireland. I can't live in Dublin. I can't live in Galway. I can't live in Cork. I can live in Belfast, or I can live in some of the County Armagh, any of the other counties in Northern, because they are technically British, as in part of the United Kingdom. So United Kingdom is Wales, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So you got 4 provinces that make up the United Kingdom. So but the Southern Irish, they get a lot of the benefits of being part of the EU. There are some still outside of the euro itself as a currency. There's some great parts about living in Ireland. I've got my wife's uncle lives there. Jesus, they give him money for everything.
That reminds me.
You get free healthcare and all that, but you also get bonuses from the government.
Since Brexit, are you guys still on the euro, or did you guys go back to pounds and that kind of thing?
We were never. That was the one adamant thing, the United Kingdom, when they joined the European Union, I think it was 77, 72, is they refused to change their currency, because the British pound is still one of the strongest currencies in the world. So
Right.
they joined with the reluctancy, like, we'll join and we'll pay all the payments that you want us to pay into the union. They were trying to make a United States, basically taking all these things and making all the money the same, travel the same, borders the same. And it used to be like I could fly into France without filling out a visa, without doing nothing. It was it'd be like me going from Florida to Georgia.
Right.
And that was the goal. But the Brits never gave up the pound, which was good, because when they left the union, they still kept their banking structure.
Yeah, but England still takes the euro, right? Because I remember when we went to England, they gave us euros, and you would pay for something in England with a euro, and they would give us English like coins as change. They don't do that anymore?
Now. Not. You
Oh, wow.
give it, they don't take I had to go. I'm going to Madeira, which is a little island off the coast of Africa. It's a Portuguese island next week. And I've got to go get euros because obviously Portuguese part of the union, they take euros, but they will not take pounds. So not that I have to get much. You use your card now for everything, but just so I can have
I
some
forgot
cash
about
to buy
that.
stuff
Yeah,
on
it
the
is
streets.
all digital now. Because I remember back when we were in Europe, just about everywhere in Europe would just take American money. If you had American money, they'd be like, "Yeah, we'll take that." You give them. I mean, I'm sure we're probably overpaying by doing that.
I can't speak for when you were there, but I haven't.
It was a while ago. I got to say,
1997. They would laugh if I tried to hand them $1.
Really? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Then I could have sworn they took euros in England.
I got to go to the post office to get that exchange. No, thank you. It'd be like you walking into Hooters and trying to give them a £20 note. They'd like, no. What do you want me to do with that? Same. It's the same principle both ways.
So the Isle of Man is in the United Kingdom, right? The British Isles, right?
Isle of Man. Yeah. It's I do believe the Isle of Man sits between Ireland and
Wales. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, no, Ireland, and yeah, it's between Ireland and
It's
that,
somewhere. It's
because there's
somewhere. It's
some
a little
islands
island
that sit
between
between,
all the
like
islands in
Jersey
the
sits
middle.
between
Have you ever
this is
been?
Jersey.
Have you ever been like for the motorcycle thing or anything?
I haven't been, or have I? I don't think I've been to Isle of Man. I've been to Guernsey. I've been to Jersey. I've been to these islands that are, sort of sit between Europe and England, or on the outside, and their bases. A lot of them are tax havens, for the
Uh,
rich people. Like
I was going
when
to say
they used
because
to come to Florida for that reason, and
I
yeah.
can't think of a reason to go to the Isle of Man other than to watch the motorcycle race. Why else would you possibly go there? But you know about the race I'm talking about, right? The
Yeah,
Isle of Man TT.
it's a
Quattro,
big,
yeah.
big deal. Yeah.
That's definitely something
Yeah.
on my. That's one of the few things left on my bucket list. I'd love to go and watch that because those guys. I mean, I'll get on a motorcycle and go down to Homestead and flog it as fast as it'll go, but those guys are freaking crazy. Those guys. Have you ever seen the guys wipe out, and go off a cliff? It's like
Yeah, I was gonna say the cliff edges have no. It's not like they have a 4 foot barrier. They're just like,
no.
up.
Well, what's a 4 foot barrier going to do when you're going 180 mile an hour? It's like
It's just a flesh wound. Walk it off.
Yeah,
In
those
fact,
guys.
I saw one of those guys, and I'm going to get the quote wrong, but apparently one of the guys that won, they asked him, "Oh, did you think your nearest competitor was going to give more of a challenge or whatever?" And he essentially said something like, "No, I knew I had him because he has a wife and kids at home." Like basically, I knew I had him because I'm way more willing to die than he is.
Just
So
more insane. Oh Lord, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun.
So here's a question for you. After telling us how good the Indian food is it true or is it a myth that there's no hard to find good Mexican food in the UK? Or is that getting better?
It's everything. So everything is becoming, status quo in the fact that it's the same. Like they wanted Chipotle over here so bad, people just restaurant owners just copied it. As far as authentic Mexican restaurants,
Taco
they're
Bell.
harder to find.
Yeah, yeah.
you'd have
No, I mean
there's a few
authentic.
in
Yeah, yeah.
London that are amazing. Like where they use the corn tortilla. Not. I don't
Right.
mean authentic as a Taco Bell Mexican. I mean proper. We'll say proper. A proper Mexican,
Yeah.
a real Mexican. We have them. They're not as demand. That's a bougie kind of a thing. Oh, I'm gonna have Mexican. Well, might have to drive 20 miles to get it. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Whereas
have
here,
it.
it's like
Yeah.
you find a taco truck that has the most authentic shit you've ever had.
And the thing I noticed
Here's
about
kebab trucks. Like everybody wants a good kebab. Like that's the late night drinking man's food.
Doner
So
kebab, right? Or is that a
here's-
different one?
A kebab is like a gyro, just a Turkish,
Right.
because Turkey and Greece connect each other. They call it a gyro. The Turks call it a kebab. But guys will line up at a kebab shop. They're all pissed, drunk. They're all pissed out of their minds, and they order this just disgusting thing. Call it a kebab with hottest hot sauce you can imagine, and they scarf that down to absorb the alcohol. That's drinking man's food.
Good times.
I got to say, that's one of the biggest myths I think that's perpetuated about England and Ireland, especially, is that the food isn't any good there. And I found that to be exactly the opposite, man, especially Ireland. I thought it was like, oh, what am I going to eat in Ireland? Potatoes and cabbage or what? And it was freaking, they had the best food. Apparently, they had sent a bunch of their chefs over to France to learn how to cook and came back and they're, any place you went was like a 5-star Michelin freaking meal. It was insane. It was really good. I mean, even places where you wouldn't expect it.
I find it interesting, because you do have all these cultures. Like it's a 2-hour flight to Italy. It's literally you can go in your car to France and just put it on a train that goes under the ground, under the channel, and then you drive off from France. So you have all these cultures close by. So you do have food, proper food, but nothing. You know how we can walk into a Fridays at 4:00 or an Applebee's. We can walk in. No restaurants open at between 12 and 5. That is a major cultural difference.
Wow,
So
that is
we
weird.
have we suffer. We have great restaurant food, but we don't have great chains. We got TGI and Fridays here, and they think, "Ooh, that's amazing." I'm like, that's
So-
like one of our worst chains.
So
And
like
we've had
people that
so
work odd shifts are just out of luck.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of a good thing. Like if I want to get some lunch, I either have to find and I want to buy it out. I have to go either get a McDonald's, go find a Burger King, something along those lines. But I'm not going to stroll in to have a nice lunch. everything's like soups and sandwiches and these kind of places. But even the calf, they'll call it, is open. But you will not find. There's Fridays here. It doesn't open until 5.
Wow, that's so
Everything
weird.
opens at 5. So you have good food here. But I think what people refer to, Chip, is the local, the cuisine that they've invented. England's known for bangers and mash.
Yeah.
In the whole. These are all just like kind of everything's
Yeah,
in
they
a
got a
pie.
bad rep, for sure.
What's the one with the fish poking out with their heads popping up? Starry something, where the fish are like looking up. It's pretty niche, but it's like Toad in the Hole. It's one of the craziest names for a dish.
I haven't seen that one.
Starry pie,
yeah,
I think it's called.
Sausages, fish pie. Everything's it's a bloody pie where they just make some mince and they rub some potatoes on it, or it's actually in a pastry like we call pot pies. Everything's in a pie, and I used to tell that joke on stage. So I'm like, Jesus, if every one of your dishes come in a pie, you're big. And then I would get the culinary comeback. We're like, coming from a guy whose culture like invented cheese in a can, you have no right to talk. I'm like, okay, fair play,
Right.
Cheese whiz. Like they're like we have great. I was just going over with the food. Like our groceries are 33.6% cheaper than American groceries.
Oh wow, no shit.
Wow.
I can go in and buy a real loaf of bread it's called a tiger bread. It's got barley basted on it, and it's $1.25 relative.
Nice.
It's cheap. We call it cheap as chips.
How much is the haggis?
What's that?
How much is the haggis?
The haggis. I like haggis.
Yeah.
Haggis isn't bad. Like
I've
you
never
can buy
tried
haggis
it.
and it's good for breakfast.
Really? Oh,
it's
Lord.
What a way to
it's
start the
kinda
day.
oaty, I like haggis. There's nothing
Okay.
wrong with haggis.
Have you
Marmite.
learned to like beans on toast? How long does that take? Yeah, I can't see it. Or Marmite.
I won't do Marmite
Yeah.
either. Like there is these sausage rolls. The sausage roll is just like their version of sausage in a little pastry, and it's brushed with Marmite. And I've had that recently. I'm like, all right, I can eat that. Because it's used as some sort of baked on
Right.
thing, but I will not put Marmite on a set. I refuse.
So what are we
still
talking
hunt
about
this
here? What are you guys saying? What's it called?
Marmite.
What's that?
It's like Vegemite.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's a brewer's yeast. It's rough.
It looks like snot chip. If they pull it out, it's goopy,
Lovely.
and they rub it
It
on
sounds
bread, and
appetizing.
they'll put something pickled on it for the acidity or cheese, and they'll call it a sandwich. And
It's a byproduct from the brewing process for beer. It's brewer's yeast.
Wow, interesting.
In Australia, it's Vegemite, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah. It's
it's
misery
rough.
in a can. It's, misery in a jar.
It's rough.
It's all the British and their suffering for hundreds of years put into a jar and they collect it.
Right.
They
So I know that the term biscuit refers to what we in America would call a cookie, but is it even possible to get American biscuits there? Like they sell grands in the grocery store. If you got a hankering for biscuits and gravy, are you just ass out of luck?
Man, you just spoke my language. I love biscuits.
Yeah,
and
right,
gravy.
you can.
Right.
Sorry.
You're killing him,
I
Sloth.
had that for breakfast this morning free at the hotel, so I thought I'd bring it up. Because I know you can get sausage. I know you can make the gravy, and you have scones, but that's not the same as a biscuit.
You can't. First of all, you can't even get the breakfast sausage. Our breakfast sausage is made with sage and it has. There's just. So you have to go either make it yourself or go to the butcher to get.
There's no
American
Jimmy
breakfast
Dean's,
sausage.
huh?
It really makes. I really hate that. But so we just got Popeyes, and I was thrilled because I knew biscuits, right?
Yeah,
so when
yeah.
I sent my kids, they were going to town, like go to Popeye. I said, get that some chicken, get the biscuits, right? So come back with a biscuit, looks like a hockey puck. I mean, I'm like, really? Come on, this is not a Popeyes biscuit. I've eaten at Popeyes.
Right.
This is a hockey puck.
Do you not have KFC? Because their biscuits aren't too bad.
They don't have their KFC is different. They don't have the potato wedges. They just have fries. And
it's a quarter chicken royale.
Oh,
They don't. They don't do. If you go to KFC in England, you don't get the crispy chicken. You only get original recipe. You can get crispy tenders and the wings, but you cannot get crispy chicken, which absolutely blows my mind.
What's
So there's
that
things
about?
missing from the menu, and biscuits is one of them.
Oh, they don't even have them.
bread.
Oh, that's criminal. That's
That is-
horrible.
Well,
is-
yeah,
that's
it was
blasphemy.
I was disappointed with that. Um, there's just so it's hard to find biscuits and gravy. It's hard to find hot dogs. So a typical spread, all part beef frank, no beef franks. Their hot dogs are vile. They come in a brine jar or something like absolutely vile. Like you would not eat it.
Yeah,
It
the
just
next-
like, those little Vienna sausages in a can that we used to get like in
Yeah.
the cheap section. That's what their hot dog tastes like.
Oh my.
Sauce. They'll call a hot dog. They'll put their version of sausage, like toad in the hole, a pork-based sausage, on a bun, and I'm like, that's not a hot dog. You cannot get a beef hot dog. I order from a farm, like 40 minutes from here, that happens to make Vienna sausages and all beef, and I have to pay through the nose. I have to pay about £10 for. I have to pay £2, so I'm basically paying $2.25 per sausage link to make one hot dog. That's what I have to
And
pay.
not only
to
that, I
get,
mean, the
but,
bread over there is fundamentally different than our bread, right? They don't put near as much sugar and shit like that in it, right?
I could send you guys a list, right? I looked at one this morning, and it's a website. It has a link of Doritos versus British Doritos, and the ingredients were this big on the English side, and they were this big on the American side. In perspective, McDonald's fries, because people ask me, does it taste the same? I said, no, it's not the same. And then if you look at the ingredients, there's all kinds of stuff in the American one that they're not allowed to use in Europe.
Right.
We used to go by the European standards. Same with bread. Like bread does not bother me here. It used to bother me in the United States, like making do things in my stomach and stuff. Here, it's just everything is natural. I'll send it to you, Chip, one day. You can have a look. You'll be blown away. Even Mountain Dew, like the most vile thing we make,
Right.
beverage-wise in America, is missing a lot of the ingredients.
The color is different because they don't use the dyes.
Yeah, probably. Give me my chunk back, but there's all these. There's so many. The FDA allows so much more.
I know.
We can't buy chicken. We're not allowed. You chlorinate. Americans chlorinate our chicken. Like they have to eggs. Eggs are left out, not in the fridge department
Because they're not washed.
they're left out wild because
They still
we
have
don't
the
wash them
protective
out
coating
before
on
we
them.
eat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know Subway got in
it's-
trouble. Their bread had so much sugar in it that the UK took them to court and determined that it wasn't bread, it was cake.
Yeah.
It was cake or plastic or something, wasn't it? And they're like, this is it. Yeah. Bread is good here. Bread is really nice here because you get the French influence, the Spanish influence. Meats are really high quality. They just cost more.
So you think the bread tastes better without all that crap in it?
It does, and I can't put my finger on to say why it tastes better. But a USDA prime steak, here is bigger than what you would get. I mean, in America, it's going to be bigger what you get in the United Kingdom, but it has no hormones. It has none of the stuff that we're allowed to inject into our beef to get it to the size it is.
Right,
so, again, the chicken tastes better.
Well, not only that, let me ask you this. Like every once in a while, I'll get some chicken here, and it's like you order like a chicken leg or something. They give you a leg that looks like it's off a turkey. Like it's so freaking huge. It's like, what have they been feeding these things? Are they, growing them near Chernobyl or what? So you guys don't have that. You just have regular side chicken, right?
You would have to. We do have. So, yeah, but they have to be. It just costs more. You pay for it. Like I can go to just like you. I can go pay £5 and get a whole chicken. But if I want a farm fed, and we sell our chickens small, medium, large. So like, in Publix, I just walk in. Oh, these are the chickens. Buy the chickens. That's what the chickens are offering. Yeah. They would offer bigger chicken. They've done less of it now that I've been here. And obviously you can get the corn fed. The chicken is yellow. Like it's just bright yellow because it's been fed corn. And you can tell that chicken does not look like this regular chicken, but you only pay an extra pound for it. Because in America we export a lot of our stuff to make money. I mean, it's more profitable to sell it abroad, whereas here it's a lot. To import a chicken from Italy would cost nothing, but we have our own. It's so. Listen, food and shopping is cheaper and better. The restaurants are more expensive, I think, in America. They cost more to go to a restaurant in England, but that's just the experience of America. I still miss the chains. There's no Cheesecake Factory here, man. We got some great food in America. We got some great restaurants, and I miss that. When I'm coming back in November, and I've always got a list. I'm going to Hooters. I'm going to Cheesecake Factory. I'm going here. I'm going. I mean, I miss.
Are you going to be in? You're going to be in South Florida?
Yeah, I'm coming November, and then my whole family, we're planning a trip for April, and my kids are making a full list. I'm like, what do you want to do? They're like, Panera's. we haven't been to Panera's. I'm like, you're crossing the ocean, and your biggest thing on your list is Panera's, and they want to do shopping. And,
I'd like to buy you some biscuits and gravy when you get here. Your restaurant of your choice.
You were on
Cracker Barrel. Yeah, I just said it. Yeah,
if Cracker Barrel's still around, yeah.
They just changed the logo. Yeah.
What is that? What is that, by the way? Something about the sign that.
I don't know why they're trying to modernize it.
Let me explain it to you. But Cracker Barrel is owned, like everything else, by BlackRock. All right, BlackRock owes taxes, so they got to go and all right, which one of these corporations is going to pay our taxes this quarter? And then so they go, Cracker Barrel's not doing that great. Let's do some DEI stuff that will completely tank their stock. We'll claim all the losses off our taxes. It's just such bullshit. And then we'll make, waves of the cultural war too. It's like, it's so ridiculous. And everybody freaks out. It's like, whatever.
Leave my Cracker Barrel alone, man. I like that. I mean, I like my biscuits and gravy. To be fair, my mom makes, she's West Virginia, so she makes a mean biscuits and gravy anyway. But
I know a little place in Lake Worth called the Over Easy Cafe. Great biscuits and gravy. We'll get you taken care of.
I've been there.
Yeah, you have.
That is a
well, actually, place. It's new since you've been there. The guys who used to own JoJo's out on Lantana own it now, so it's really good. They have a flat iron steak there that I get for breakfast all the time. It's insanely good. But let me ask you this: so is Trump hitting you guys with any tariffs? Do you know?
No. The big joke is so when Trump comes over, Keir Starmer, our prime minister, basically has his nose so far up Trump's ass that, and the Brits are like, really? Come on, man. You just basically bow down and open the purse and say whatever. But, the same token, the guy is trying to keep England out of any tariff war. And it's just like, but then we don't really import a lot of stuff from the United States because we've got so many countries that are closer and cheaper to do it. Right. We can import stuff from Romania.
Right. So you probably net export to the States, I assume, then probably, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are obviously things that, that we can't get here that we could only get that from the States. Well, then, yeah, I'm sure we get it and we pay for it. But look at this country has it's a slew of problems. And one thing about Brits is they love to moan. So if there's something wrong with the politics, or there's something wrong with they're gonna moan about it.
Let me ask you this to wrap it up. What is the general consensus that you feel from the public in England about Ukraine? Like, do they think we should keep fighting? Do they think we should get the fuck out? What do they think?
I think the general consensus. See, we don't get saturated with political news. We don't have a Fox. I think I said we don't have Fox. We don't have an MSC, but we don't have a CNN. We have Sky News. We don't get a lot of. But what we do get, and the general opinion is, we keep fighting. We give them what they want to do. Give them whatever they need. Russia and England have always had a turbulent relationship. They comb our waters a lot.
Ever since their cousins were the leaders of each, right? Wasn't it King George and King Edward or whatever, the Tsar or something? They were like cousins or brothers or something.
The best British king, Alexander or whatever, he was actually a Russian king because all the Brits had died and he came over and took over the country and he was.
At one point, right before World War I, it was literally they were brothers. It was
the three of them were all the grandsons, I think, of Queen Victoria.
Right. That's so amazing. Anyway, I don't know how much longer that's going to go. Apparently, they're saying that Odessa is about to fall, and once that happens, Ukraine's landlocked. I don't know how much longer they can keep it up. I mean, unless we see, it's the same thing as Vietnam. We could have won Vietnam, but we didn't. So it's the same thing. If we want to go full scale war with Russia, we got to do more. But I don't see it. I don't see it turning out any better than Vietnam. Truthfully, it's about the same thing.
No. The Brits will support the Ukrainians, but they're not going to save the Ukrainians.
I don't think anybody can.
same philosophy around the way. Hey, we'll give you whatever military support. We'll send you weapons. We'll send you ammunition. We'll send you food. But it's your war to win or lose. And I agree with you on that.
If you ask me, and it's not really my opinion, I'm parroting this opinion of obviously people that know a lot more about it than me. But the big issue is that Putin all along has said Ukraine has to be neutral. He doesn't want to take it. I mean, he might have wanted to take it the east part where they wanted to be Russian. That's fine. But he doesn't want to take all of Ukraine. He just wants it to be neutral. And as long as the other side, our side, is saying, well, we got to have security guarantees and this, that, and the other thing, that ain't neutral. So there's no incentive for Putin to even stop.
NATO in Ukraine. He doesn't want NATO in Ukraine.
Right. Well, not even just NATO.
It was kind of heading that way.
Yeah, but it doesn't even have to be NATO. Even if just America says we're giving you the security guarantees, that's not neutral. So he's not gonna agree to that. He's just gonna keep taking parts until they finally go, okay, that's enough. I don't know. I don't see it turning out any better than Vietnam.
Ukrainians, when I was working on ships, I did some Ukrainians, and the country was doing well. I mean, cafes, beautiful streets, clean, good economy.
What's that, Ukraine?
Yeah,
wow.
I was actually.
That's not what we're seeing here.
I worked with a pianist, and we sit and have meals. She would show me pictures like, oh, the streets are great. Their economy was doing better than Russia's economy at the time that Russia decided to attack them. And she felt a lot of
probably
it.
Because we give them a lot of money. I don't know. That's just so interesting that you get such a different perception than we do, because everything I see, Ukraine's getting the shit kicked out of them. It's getting leveled.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about when the war started. They were doing great. I mean, their economy was doing great. Their people were happy. They were happier than the Russians. They had better jobs than the Russians. They had nicer towns. They were sort of becoming westernized, and the Russians didn't like that. Obviously, they don't want,
it was the talk of joining the UN is what they didn't like. Yeah,
we tortured them by pulling out McDonald's or something.
Yeah, there you go. All right, brother. We should probably wrap this one up. We've been almost an hour. So, hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate you doing this with us. And say hello to the Queen or the King or what.
You are our first international Zooming guest, so that was a first for us. The reception of everything came out great.
Yeah.
I'm pleased. I'm pleased that I have this. I actually would have a better mic next time. But I will say I'm thank you for inviting me to the show. I enjoy discussing, because life is different everywhere, but in a lot of ways it's just the same. It's just different. And anytime you guys want to be back, there's a lot of subjects and questions that I'd be happy to answer.
Well, hit us up when you're back in November. You can come do it in person.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If viewers have questions about life in Europe, the UK, we can answer them then. I'd love to come back.
We'll see you soon for Biscuits and a Podcast.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. We'll wrap it up from there.
subscribe,
Subscribe,
comment,
give a voicemail number.
Give us a call and leave a message at our Sloth Doctor hotline, 904-549-9024.
I actually got it now. All right, Dave. We'll catch you later, buddy. Thank you, man.
All right.
Have a good one, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Easy.